Hey, what's up everyone? TJ here. Welcome back to another snowboard review. In this video, I'm talking about the Spring Break Powder Racer. Let's get into it. All right, and real quick for your reference before I jump into the tech and construction in this one, I'm 5'10", I weigh around 155 pounds, and I tested this board in size 154. Now the Powder Racer is obviously a powder focused snowboard on the Spring Break lineup, and it's part of their ultralight powder displacement collection. And that leads right into the first thing I want to highlight with this one, and you're going to notice it right away as soon as you pick it up. This board is noticeably lightweight, light in the hand, light underfoot, has a nice maneuverable feel. And that's something that I think you're going to find across the entire Spring Break line. If you've never had a chance to ride any of their boards before, these things are pretty light, and the Powder Racer is no exception. Now, being a powder focused snowboard, a lot of the design is focused around that particular terrain and snow texture. So you're of course going to get a directional outline with this one, with a significantly longer nose up front here outside the front contact points, a shorter tail in the back outside the rear contact points. You're also going to find about a 1/2 inch setback or 13mm setback, so the inserts are a little bit closer to the tail of the snowboard, as well as a pretty significant taper, about a 31mm taper. So the tail here is actually quite a bit narrower than the nose of the snowboard. And it's also very wide. I think that's something that really defines the character of this snowboard, along with a few other things in the design, but you're absolutely going to notice that width anywhere that you take this snowboard. And at 154, this one comes in with a 27.2 centimeter waist width, so it's got a pretty wide chassis. You're going to find Spring Break's surf camber profile, so it's camber through the body of the snowboard, a pretty mellow camber with rocker or reverse camber outside your feet here, going towards the tips and gradually continuing out into the nose as well as the tail. It's a very mellow, gradual uplift here in the tips. It's not going to be your typical flat kick that you see in a lot of Capita snowboards, and I think that's definitely something that is really noticeable in those like soft, light, dry powder conditions. It just kind of helps this thing glide on top of that snow rather than plow into it, or at least reduces the chances of that happening. You're also going to find their Technora Flax boosters built into the layup of this snowboard. Two pretty wide strips of this material running tip to tail down the length of the board. The Technora is like an aramid fiber, so it's a very durable fiber, same kind of material that bulletproof vests are made out of. And flax, so that's known for dampening, but also going to give this board a little bit more energy. So just smooth things out, give it a little bit more snap. This also runs their hover core, which is a primary contributor to why this board does feel so lightweight. They basically packed as much Polonia wood as possible into the core of this thing with just a little bit of poplar to give it some durability, but they really just wanted to make this board as light as possible for you, and Polonia is going to help check that box. It also runs their Power Drive base, which is a sintruded base material, still made through the extrusion process, but with slightly higher quality material. So all you need to know is that it's going to be a little bit more durable than a typical extruded base, but still going to be nice and low maintenance and easy to repair. So that's it for the tech here in the Powder Racer. Let's jump into the review. Okay guys, let's jump into the review talking about the flex and feel you're going to find in this one. So flex wise, this board's pretty soft. It's a soft, playful snowboard, and I think when you're taking that out around the resort, like on groomers and packed snow conditions, it's going to be very noticeable. It's going to be really easy to just lift this thing up into a nice tall press. Pretty consistent flex throughout, but with this big platform up front here in the nose, you're definitely going to get more leverage. And it's kind of loose as well. I think when you're trying to butter around on this thing and you're leaning into the nose or tail, that width and the rocker do make it feel kind of loose, which is actually a lot of fun to play around with doing butters. That was a huge highlight for me with this snowboard. I think if you enjoy playing around with those types of maneuvers, you're gonna really like the feel you're gonna find in the Powder Racer and just how effortless it is to lift that board into a nice looking nose or tail press. Whether you're trying to swivel around on the snow, just sit in a press, or do more techie butters, I think you're really gonna have a great time on this thing. It's a big highlight for me, very noticeable with the overall feel of this thing around the resort. And if you're out there cruising with your friends and you're on this thing, I think your butters are probably gonna be looking a little bit better than theirs. I'm not gonna lie, this thing is super fun in that regard. And it still has some pop as well. You know, you got that camber through the body of the snowboard to help give it a little bit more snap and energy, those boosters in there as well. But you know, with that softer flex and the rocker and the tips, it is gonna be a mellower pop. So this thing isn't gonna be crazy energetic compared to like a Freestyle twin, but it's still there for you. All right, you know I took this board through some park laps as well. And while this is a far cry from just a daily park board, I think you can still have a lot of fun riding with a more freestyle approach on this thing, both in and out of the park. One thing is that it does have a solid tail, so that's definitely helpful in more freestyle situations, give you a nice platform to pop off of. I think the width comes into play as well, whether you're trying to pop off a jump or a side hit or a lip to a rail. It just gives you a nice platform to ollie off of, which is a pretty solid feel. But overall, it is going to take a bit of an adjustment, you know, to get used to that width as well as all the directional features in this thing. It has a little bit of a different feel riding switch, but I think still pretty comfortable, something I don't think you're gonna have to really take a lot of time getting used to. And you know, if you're cruising around the resort on a POW day and you wanna go hit some park laps, you just happen to be at that part of the resort, I think you're gonna love the way this thing feels. And you know, if you're just feeling like you wanna take your directional board in the park, do some party boarding, or just challenge yourself a little bit, you can have fun with this thing as well. It's pretty fun for riding with a freestyle approach. I think if you want to, you can definitely get a lot of freestyle performance out of this, but in my opinion, it's definitely a little bit more of a jibber just because it is so soft and it has that kind of loose feel to it. But it's going to be a good time on smaller jumps as well, and definitely a good time cruising around, finding some natty hits, some side hits, playing around on rollers and that kind of stuff as well. Don't let the shape and the design fool you. This thing can be a lot of fun in the park and riding with a freestyle approach. And when it comes to carving this board, exploring the resort, ripping it up on groomers, this board does have a really good feel as well, but it's gonna be a little bit of a mellower carver. And it kind of has the perfect setup for that. So you're gonna find a 6.8 meter side cut, so a little bit of a tighter side cut, and that super wide chassis I mentioned earlier, 27.2 centimeters at the waist. So that's gonna make it where it feels a lot better doing more aggressive, deeper carves at slower, mellower speeds, because that tighter side cut is gonna hook you in a little bit more. So you will be able to kind of ride through those turns and really commit to it. You know, your toes and your heels aren't gonna be catching. You can do some really nice, deep heel side carves on this thing and really have a lot of fun exploring that style of riding on this at more mellower speeds around the resort, specifically on groomers. When you are taking this thing to maybe some more technical zones, you're up in the alpine, getting in the trees, depending, you know, how crazy, how steep it is, you might find this board's a little bit limited just because it is a little bit softer. In the trees, such a blast, although, you know, probably going to be more fun when the snow is cooperating. But can definitely hold it down exploring the resort. All things considered though, going to be a little bit of a mellower ride. If you do try to open this thing up and bomb some groomers, that gradual kind of uplift on the nose does create a little bit more chatter than you might find on like a more free ride board, but really that stems just from the softer flex. So it's going to get a little bit squirrely when you start going fast. For what it is and what the purpose of this snowboard is designed for, you're going to have a great time laying it down on groomers, although it does have some limitations at higher speeds. So I was fortunate enough to have this board on my feet during one of the deepest POW days of my life over in Hokkaido, and the Powder Racer delivered. This is where the design of the board really comes together, in my opinion, where everything just works together to bring you that next level powder surfing experience. It's going to keep you floating even in true bottomless lightweight powder snow. I'm talking the lightest snow you can think of, snow that you can put in your hand and just blow it away. Now imagine that up to your waist, very little buoyancy. This board's going to keep you floating in that. I think it's fair to say that this board falls in the unsinkable category in my opinion. The shape, the width, the profile, they all work together to keep that nose up effortlessly. And the crazy width and the shape obviously play a crucial role with float, but the profile contributes too, and I think more noticeably helps give this board a really maneuverable feel. Because, you know, when you're in deep snow, you know, past your knees up to your thigh, you're trying to stay floating. A lot of times these boards that still have like a significant tail, or like an actual tail, basically, you know, not a fish, they can feel a little bit sluggish. But the way the flex and that rocker and that taper all work together gives this thing a very maneuverable feel. Super fun in the trees, or for just slashing it up, you know, across a POW field as well, or wherever you might be in those snow conditions. Basically what I'm trying to say is that despite the significant width you're getting in this board, that taper, rocker, and tail shape really work together to help keep this thing gliding effortlessly through those deep conditions. Nearly as good as a fish. Overall, this is going to be a playful powder board that's going to give you some nice versatility as well. Something that's going to be really fun for butters and playing around with a more freestyle riding approach and ripping up some groomers. It's got some nice width to keep you locked in and give you those more aggressive edge angles. But when the faucets turn on and things start to get real deep, this is a board I would grab without a second thought. If you don't have a powder board in your quiver, this is one that could definitely fill that void and offer some nice peripheral benefits as well. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, something that fits your riding style, definitely consider the Spring Break Powder Racer. I'm gonna have this board linked down below this video, so it's easy for you to find if you wanna check it out or read a little bit more about it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching today. Make sure to like and subscribe before you go. It really helps out the channel and just helps get these reviews out to more people. So thank you guys. We'll see you in a new one next time.